Sponsors Adidas, Ray and Nephew, Sunshine Snacks, Water, Power Aid, St. Mary's, True Shake, Stewart's, and Just Vet.
Being tones if you with them, I gone with them till then sick. Say them I go box and thump and kick.
Jamaica, make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out, don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is...
So, Wednesday's election was historic in a number of ways. Not just that Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness secured a third consecutive term for the JLP, the first JLP leader to do that, but there are 19 women in Parliament. This is the most ever. 30% of the members of Parliament are women. Now, the makeup of Parliament will look very different. Here's a preview of how it will look with Andre Jebinson.
A political landscape that has been redrawn by the electorate. The most glaring change is the balance of power. When members of Parliament last sat, the Jamaica Labour Party, GLP, commanded a comfortable 49 seats, while the People's National Party, PNP, languished with just 14. Now, the GLP will still sit on the Speaker's right, but with 15 fewer seats. The opposition benches, once sparse, are now crowded with new energy after the PNP rebounded. Another shift is the presence of women. 19 will sit in the new parliament, 11 on the government side and 8 in opposition. Among them are Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn, Favour Williams, Olivia Grange, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke and Crystal Lee, alongside a wave of newcomers like Nikisha Burchell, Andrew Perkis and Heather Miller-Bennett. Fresh energy will also arrive in the form of 15 first-time MPs. 3 of them will wear JLP colours, while the opposition benches will welcome no fewer than 11 rookies. The newcomers include familiar names from civic life and politics: Delano Seavright, Audrey Marks, Steve McGregor, Omar Newell, Dr. Kenneth Russell, and Dr. Alfred Dawes, among others. Notably, the 2025 election also reopened the door for a number of political veterans: Dr. Dayton Campbell, Ian Hales, Dwayne Vaz, Peter Bunting, and Richard Azan, all of whom fell in 2020, return, this time wearing the confidence of a new mandate and accepting Vaz representing new constituencies. But where there are returns, there are also departures. 10 incumbents will not be walking back into Gordon House. Among the casualties are big names like Anne-Marie Vaz, whose defeat in East Portland shocked many, along with former ministers of state Homer Davis and Dr. Norman Dunn. Others such as Donovan Williams, Michelle Charles, Dwight Sibley's and George Wright also lost their seats. The reshaping of Parliament is further underscored by a transition between chambers. Audrey Marks, Delano Seavright, Delroy Williams, Damon Crawford, and Peter Bunting have all crossed from the Senate to the House of Representatives, trading the appointed upper chamber for the bruising vote one legitimacy of the lower house. Andre Jebinson, CVM News.
All right, so among the members of Parliament are returning members of Parliament, and when we come back, we'll be talking to one of them, Dwayne Vaz, but that will be on the other side of this break. Stick and stay with us.
Join us this week on Tourism One-on-One as we examine how the tourism sector has been performing in the post-pandemic environment with Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett.
Make money now with local Eagle, City and Guilds, and ABE and Door certificates and Distinction College. Start new online and face-to-face classes very soon in our Make Money Now career courses and get qualified jobs worldwide or start your own business in practical pediatric, geriatric, and psychiatric nursing, phlebotomy and pharmacy technician, early childhood education, child care, cashiering, call center, event planning, receptionist, customer service, housekeeping, waitering, food preparation, bartending, cake baking, plumbing, motor vehicle, electrical installation, air conditioning, makeup, hairdressing, nail technician, and cosmetology. No subjects required, no age limit. Register this week and get City and Guilds Maths and English classes for free. Call us at 3564167.
Welcome back to Lead Story. I'm Giovanni Dennis. Now, joining us in this segment of the program is returning Member of Parliament for Westmoreland Central, Dwayne Vaz. Now, he defeated the incumbent George Wright of the JLP. And let's just bring up the tally from September 3, from the September 3 elections. So, 54% of the votes. Well, let's just give you the final tally. Vaz tallied 9,916 votes in all to George Wright's 8,385 votes. He got 53.76% of the votes, returning to the seat he held since 2014 following the death of former Member of Parliament Roger Clark. Now, Vaz's defeat in Westmoreland Central was one of the shockers in 2020. And I want to start out first by asking you, Mr. Vaz, as we look at the trend here in Westmoreland Central, that was the only time that the PNP was losing that seat in well over 2 decades, actually. So since 2000, nearly 2 decades, 2002, 2007, 2011, 2016, it was closer, and in 2020, it was lost. So, Dwayne Vaz, firstly, you're the first PNP Member of Parliament to lose Westmoreland Central in more than 2 decades. How did that feel, firstly?
Well, yes, the last time we lost the seat was in 1980, and everybody knew what happened in 1980. And 2020 was something similar to
pause
that.
Right there, pause. So just not to assume. So the PNP did not contest the election, the general elections in 1980. It was a snap election.
It was 83. That was
83, right.
But we lost it in 1980. We did not contest in 1983. All right?
Yes.
Yes. So naturally in 2020 when we lost it, it was devastating. We realized what was happening though. We lost almost every PNP strong seat, not only in Westmoreland, but many across the country. We only ended up with 14 seats after that general election. So it was a devastating loss, not only for the constituency, but for the party on a whole. And there were many factors which should have led to that. And we knew that having a united party, it would give us a better chance in every single constituency. So from 2020, we hit the ground running. We fine-tuned our organization. We look where we went wrong, look what we needed to do. And we were very confident going into the general elections of 2025 that we would have retained the seat. Our canvass was saying just that. The mood of the people in the constituency was suggesting that, and our execution on the day was good, which ended up having our people coming out very early to ensure that we put the ballots in the boxes and get ourselves in a position from early in the day to win the constituency. So it was a very satisfying result on Wednesday, based on the work we knew we put in and the expectations that we had.
Yeah. Firstly, I just want to go back to 2020. On the night when you realized that you had in fact lost that seat, having done the work that you had done leading up to the election, how did you personally feel? Like, what were the thoughts going through your mind, the feelings?
Well, naturally, I felt bad. I was wondering why, how, asking myself about different kind of questions, questioning myself, questioning the party, wondering where we went wrong. But after getting up the following morning, I always believe that everything that should happen will. And I stated from that time that I'm not going to question what happened. I'm just going to ensure we work together to change that reality. So I am that type of person, always very optimistic, realistic also, but very optimistic. So from the following morning of the elections, I decided that we just have to brush off ourselves and come back. We will strategize the best ways to do it. I personally, even though I was still part of the organization, resigned as chairman for 1 year, and then I returned the following year just because I needed to get some stuff in order, but I was still assisting in different ways in the constituency. So, as I said, after feeling bad, the main and most important thing was that we understood from the following morning that it has already happened. We can't change the fact, so let us work together to change the reality in 5 years.
So here you are now back in Gordon House after 5 years. What will be different for you this time around?
Well, definitely speaking, I would have learned a lot being outside. And when I was there in Parliament, the majority of the time I was there, I was also in opposition. So I was really hoping that the PNP would have won government this time around. So it was a really bittersweet feeling on Wednesday night also. But again, I look at the fact that everything that should happen will. And we just have to realize now, yes, we have a strong opposition. We have a very good team. Our voices will be heard. Jamaica will know what we're lobbying for. So my constituency can expect to hear me speaking on various issues on behalf of them. They can expect that I'll be listening to them to decide what are the priorities in the constituency. Although we have been doing that throughout the last 5 years. And they can expect that whatever we're doing, the communication will be there for them to know exactly what we are lobbying for, why we are lobbying for this, and the results we're getting, because we're going to hold the government accountable to ensure that the major priorities in the constituency are achieved.
In terms of lobbying on behalf of your constituents, are there any special legislative issues that you are interested in lobbying for this term?
Well, it was legislative, but the major issues we have down here, naturally, infrastructure is one, and we have many main roads that are in a deplorable condition, and the people want us to ensure we speak up for them on that. We have a land regularization issue. So naturally, legislation will come in place there where we have to ensure that we improve that fact in Westmoreland. And many people across the constituency and the parish don't own their own lands because of land tenure issues. So many communities are not organized in a particular way, and we must regularize them in order for them to be empowered. That's a major thing. And the housing stock must also be improved. And you know, the party was promising the people that we have 500 houses per constituency. I would really hope that the governing party looks into this proposal so we can actually have this realized, because it is something serious for Westmoreland to improve the stock of housing that we have here. Something I would also want to look at from a legislation standpoint would be the cannabis industry. There must be a way where we can involve more persons. We all know sugar was king in Westmoreland, but that has basically been dying for quite a while now, and we must find a replacement for that. And I personally think that cannabis is the way to go. So we must look at the way how the cannabis license authorities set up what we need to do to ensure we can get more people on board and to make it easier for persons to log on to this particular opportunity, because we know that Jamaica has always been touted to having the best ganja.
And even in addition to Jamaica, Westmoreland itself, there's a whole trend, a slang, the best from West.
Always has been touted to have the best. So we want to capitalize on that. We are seeing other countries doing it, and I don't see why Jamaica, land we love, cannot capitalize on something like that. So I think we need to look at how the whole system was set up and figure out easier ways to have persons get involved. And it's something we really have to take seriously in this term in office.
Is it a product you use for medicinal purposes as well?
No, I've never used it, to be honest with you. But I've seen persons use it. I've heard of persons who have used it based on their situations, and the results we have heard have been very good. So we think that it is something we must take seriously, not only from that standpoint of it, but the byproducts also, as you mentioned, for the medicinal purposes. So we have to look into those things seriously. The research has been far advanced, and I can't see why we have not been capitalizing on that.
Given that you're in opposition, do you think you'll have any difficulties getting resources from the government to do some of the projects that you're speaking about, for example, the housing issues that you want to address in the area?
Well, naturally, when the government is not the government that you are a part of, it is most times more difficult to get things done. But I'm hoping that that good sense will prevail, and the government will realize how important these issues are, not only for this constituency, but nationally. So I am very hopeful that the things we lobby for, we will be getting, so we can strengthen not only the constituency, but Jamaica as a whole.
I mean, I'm out of time right now, but quickly, your thoughts on the PNP regaining not just Westmoreland, sweeping Westmoreland, but also Hanover, given what happened in 2020?
Well, as I said, we really expected to win back Westmoreland. We expected to win back Hanover. There were just probably 4 seats that I still can't come to think why we have lost them.
What are those 4?
That was government. For example, on North Trelawney, Central Manchester, the West Central, St. James seats, those seats we really would have expected to win. I can't speak to what happened in those constituencies on election day, but going into the election, me personally would have counted those seats for the PNP and thus would have expected us to win government. So Hanover and Westmoreland, as I said, were counted for us to win. There were no surprises there.
All right. Thank you so much then. Dwayne Vaz, Westmoreland Central Member of Parliament. He lost in 2020 and regained the seat now. Let's go to a quick break. We'll be right back.
Jamaica is paving the way to becoming a republic, or future or choice. The time by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs is 6.
The defense begins. CVM TV's exclusive coverage of the ISA schoolboy football season begins September 6 at Stadium Eastfield. The Costa Cup kingpins Garvey Maceo start their quest for another rural area title. They battle Fogo Road on opening day at 2:30 p.m. And then Manning Cup holders Kingston College lock horns with Charlie Smith at 5 p.m. The path to schoolboy football glory begins here, and CVM TV is the place to see it happen. It's Garvey Maceo versus Fogo Road at 2:30 p.m. and Kingston College versus Charlie Smith at 5 p.m. and it's live and exclusive on CVM TV.
Millions of people are attacked by harmful mouth bacteria. The root cause of bad breath, gum problems, cavities, plaque, and tartar. That's why Colgate combined the best science and technology in Colgate Total. Unlike others, its superior formula fights bacteria and creates a powerful protective barrier for up to 24 hours to prevent them from coming back. Take control of your oral health with Colgate Total.
So, one of the first-time members of Parliament is Dr. Alfred Dawes. He's known as a medical doctor. He's a public commentator as well on any issues that has to do with medicine. We call him, we speak to him on any medical issues from time to time on our various talk show programs. He's making it to Gordon House now for the first time. So, firstly, for you, Dr. Dawes, how does that feel?
It still hasn't sunken in. I mean, the feeling is really bittersweet now because we didn't make it nationally, but I have to be thankful that I am making it. But the celebration is a bit subdued in my head, but the constituents and the workers, they're loving it.
Well, as I mentioned, the constituents, we just want to bring up a graphic showing the about a 25-year history of this seat. So the St. Catharines Southeastern seat since 2002. The PNP has only lost that seat once, and that was in 2020. You had it since 2002, 2007, 2011. It was close in 2016, and then you lost it in 2020, and now you're back again in 2025. You polled 7,754 votes, unseating the incumbent Robert Miller, who polled 7,187 votes. Were you doubtful at any point?
You know, one can't be overconfident when you have a 1,200 vote margin to overcome before you start to put some distance between you and your opponent. But we know that there were certain factors why people stayed home and the PNP vote fell off during the COVID elections, as we now know it. And we knew that all we had to do was to get them out. The real doubt came about whether or not we could really unite the constituency after the internal runoff. And I know a lot of people had written us off completely. The opponents, they actually were banking on that, and that's why they had some overconfidence. that we would not be able to pull it off. So in the end, it worked in our favor when we were finally able to pull everyone together.
What are some of the campaign promises that you made that you're now keen on fulfilling?
Well, for one, we are going to start the consultations with all the citizens associations. We're going to make the CDF, the Constituency Development Fund, a child of the constituency consultation. So you're not going to have a situation where the MP is telling you how it was spent. What we're going to sit and decide how the allocation is going to go. The other thing we want to really start advocating for is the Board of Health. We want to manage our own affairs. They've gone ahead and passed the law to make Portmore a parish. Even before that comes into reality, we want to have our own Board of Health and simple things like the vector control. We have a serious problem with mosquitoes, and that's coming from drain cleaning, which we're going to address immediately, and the vector control program, which is run by the Ministry of Health. We want to move that to the municipality right now. Let Portmore handle its own vector control.
How in your mind will your Board of Health work? Explain to my viewers what you mean by that exactly.
Well, we would take charge of our own public health affairs. It won't be just the St. Catherine Health Department. And the prime example is going to immediately affect Portmore residents is that we will control our own fogging teams. So it won't be a fogging team that's spending 2 days in St. Catherine South and then another 2 days in Southeast St. Catherine, and then they're gone to other areas of St. Catherine. We will have a Portmore fogging team that's going to make sure that we are controlling the mosquitoes, and we can sit outside in the parks that we plan to rehabilitate and create additional green spaces that we are going to create. And we can start to have it as a wellness city, and that's the primary objective right now, in terms of having the citizens not feeling like it's a dormitory community, a concrete jungle, but a place to raise their families, live and raise their families.
I mean, in addition to being known as the Sunshine City, Portmore is also known as the Mosquito City as well. That's
something we're going to fix. That's why I said the Board of Health is something that we're going to really push. Yes, people will joke about it, but it is a reality. And if we have an outbreak of dengue, we're all in danger. So it's nothing to really smile about. We're going to fix it, though.
How concerned are you, though, that as an opposition MP, you may not be able to get the resources you may need to do some of these things that you're speaking about?
And that's always a concern. But with strong advocacy, I think we're a much stronger opposition now. And I believe that we have to leverage that as well, getting consensus on certain things. We're getting what we need for our constituents. So it's not just JLP MPs getting the projects and the taxpayer spend. If you want cooperation, then you have to help us help our constituents as well.
As I mentioned, cooperation, a lot of the work of us as a member of Parliament has to do with legislative changes and committee meetings. What do you hope to contribute to those in Parliament?
Well, my primary objective right now is to serve the constituency. We're going to use the next 5 years to build out a proper constituency management that's going to incorporate the community leaders, the citizens association, as well as members of the political directorate, so that everyone has a vested interest in the projects that are implemented. And that is my primary objective right now. Wherever they see me working in Parliament or as a good fit, I will fit in there. But right now, I am not seeking anything or looking forward to anything. I would prefer to spend the time in my constituency.
But I mean, you've already been functioning as a spokesperson on health. You have aspirations of being a health minister. How will you stay relevant throughout this time, though, in opposition for the next 5 years?
If I am chosen to continue in the position as the opposition spokesperson on health, I will have a stronger voice being now in Parliament, where I can table my own questions, I can raise objections, and we can start to submit members' motions.
Are there any special issues you plan to advocate for in Parliament?
Well, transparency is a big thing. I think that there is just too much of taxpayer dollars being wasted. The corruption in the Ministry of Health needs to end. And I am going to continue to be a watchdog for that. I will also be calling out the government on their failures the lack of meaningful work, and instead the plastering of the ills with just a band-aid of PR. That is going to be, I'm looking at that as I'm being given a mandate to go to Gordon House to
But I mean, the government
that.
has in fact gotten crime down by over 43% this year in comparison to last year. They do have they did have a mandate to campaign, and you look at the net new taxes overall. So I don't know, do you consider that to be PR?
I speak specifically for health, which is what you asked me. With health, if you're talking about numbers, or maternal mortality rate is higher than it was decades ago, or children are dying at a higher rate, or babies are dying at a higher rate than 20 years ago. But yet, the fluff is that the rate of increase is less. Or we spoke about the rate going up over 10 years, and the minister came and said that the rate has been trending down over 2 years. But still, it is still higher, far higher, and it may be just a blip. We see where the Ministry of Health and even the government, even in the debates, when it's asked about health, they keep talking about infrastructural developments as a surrogate for improvements in healthcare. Even then, you have a lack of screening, where you only have 2 mammograms for breast cancer screening in the entire public health sector, where you have colonoscopies, the waiting time is up to 2 years if you urgently need a colonoscopy, where we don't have proper national screening programs, but everything is a roadshow. You want to get you want to do screening, it's a screening roadshow. Know your numbers. If you want to talk about taking responsibility, it's a taking responsibility roadshow. If you want to encourage people to exercise and move more, it's a Jamaica Moves roadshow. So those PR-centric approaches don't work. What we want is to strengthen the community, the health centers, where you can have dedicated screening services in those communities, which we put in our manifesto, and I have no issue at all if they start to implement them, because it will be for the benefit of Jamaicans. So we